All right, welcome back. We got another special episode of Earn Your Voice. Got another very special guest, one of my homeboys from childhood. Man, I grew up with Daniel. He doing a lot of big things right now. I'm gonna let him go ahead and introduce himself, tell y'all what he do. Go ahead, Daniel, kick it off.
Well, yeah, thank you for that, man. My name is Daniel K. Hyde, I was born and raised in Harlem. It's always a difficult thing for me to just a question of like, what do you do? Or like tell me about yourself. But I feel like the main thing is that I'm a serial entrepreneur slash investor, right? Slash banker, right? But I really do a ton of things. I got my hands in a bunch of pots. But that's the main things right there.
Fact, my boy a jack of all trades, man. My boy doing it all. And this episode is gonna be about young black entrepreneurs. And yeah, that's who this episode is geared towards. These young black men. As you can see, Daniel's a young black entrepreneur from Harlem, New York. There's no excuses, man. I got people who come from the gutter. He making something of himself. So I'm glad he on here. He gonna get to speak to y'all about what he do. And as y'all know, we start off every episode with a quote of the day, and I got a quote good. So this episode is by Madam C.J. Walker. It says, "I had to make my own living and my own opportunity, but I made it. Don't sit down and wait for the opportunities to come. Get up and make them." So how that sound to
I
you? How
love
that
that.
quote sound? That joint was
That's
dope.
fire.
That
I
was
love
dope.
that.
All right,
Yeah,
say no more.
that's
Say no more.
that's very fair too. You
All
feel me?
right,
That's
say
something
no
that
more.
you feel me. I never heard that one before, but that's kind of what we live our life by for real.
Exactly, exactly. Get up, go make it happen. So I'm
Word.
gonna just pick it off and ask you, what inspired you to dive into so many different fields? Like, what was your inspiration?
So, uh, right. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. A lot of these directions that I ended up going in, the really main thing that pushed me into those is, just trying to get some extra cash, trying to get some money, make something happen, put money in your pockets, be able to feed the fam, and do things that you want to do. So
Mm-hmm.
that I feel like those was the main things that drove me. But also like when it comes to like things like photography and real estate, I feel like it was also just like a kind of like a natural interest in them, right? And
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to photography, like I always liked photography before I even was able to afford to get my hands on these high end cameras and stuff. Even with the iPhones, like I always just loved like me taking flicks. People would ask me to take their flicks. They always know like, oh, like it started out with just, yo, Dan, you know how to take the flick, yo, you know how to get the angles, like hook me up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of like propelled into like more like, matter of fact, I'm actually kind of good at this and I want to
Yeah.
like up it, get higher level photos and things like that, right? Specifically for that lane.
So since you spoke on photography, I'm gonna just jump into that. So you saying coming up and taking pictures for people, that's how you discovered your passion for photography? Like where did you get that passion from?
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I think that is like really it started really so in college. Like when
Mm-hmm.
portrait mode had just dropped, I was going crazy with portrait mode on
Yeah.
iPhones, right? People was
That's
loving
a
my
fact.
pictures, right? Stuff like that. And then people was just like, yo, like take photos for me. Right. And I used to
Mhm.
just hook up my friends' photos and things like that. And also like I was really good at like editing them, right? Right, to get some really clean photos. So it kind of started as that, and then I was just like, like you could really make money from this. And that's kind of how Harlem Flicks was invented, right?
That name is dope. Harlem Flicks. That name is dope. So
But
when it comes to Harlem Flicks, what's some of the projects you've been working on as of lately?
so as of lately, right now, we are trying to launch a new reality TV show. So this is the first time I really even talked about it, right? But that's kind of a big project right now, and you guys could stay tuned and look out for that. It's going to be
Mhm.
shot right here in Harlem, right? I don't want to give too much spoilers on what type of angles we going with, but I feel
Yeah.
like that's the big direction with it. I've done a bunch of projects just doing like free like just freelance style for people, like studio shoots and stuff like that. But also, like, I kind of really got an interest in the film side of it, right? Making film, making productions, right? So that's really our next big thing that we coming out with. We already done a bunch of uh a bunch of projects when it comes to like streaming and stuff like that. But now we trying to get real reality TV going, right? And open
Nah,
up
that's
that kind
dope.
of lane for us now.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. I know you don't want to get too much. You don't want to give out the source
Yeah,
for
yeah, I
your.
don't want to give it
I
away.
know, yeah.
Word.
That joy, you just caught me with that. I didn't even know you had that going
Yeah,
on. So I'm gonna just stay in
yeah.
tune. I'm gonna stay in tune. But
Man,
other than
too.
the
Look out for
reality,
that.
what's one of the most memorable projects you got up to date right now?
I feel like one of actually one of my most memorable projects was actually just last year. I work with Splashy Life Apparel, right?
Mm,
We did a project for them where we helped with the fashion show. They put on a fashion show. Also, they was like kind of making short films to go with the fashion show, and I feel like that was like a really dope experience. I got to work with the founder and CEO of Splashy Life. Make sure you go check them out, Brittany.
yeah.
Right? She really such a dope person. She put together a really cool team, and I feel like that was a really one of my doper projects that I worked on as of late.
That's dope. That's dope, man. I I'm really looking forward to that reality show though. I'm not even gonna lie
Yeah,
because
yeah,
when you say photography, I'm
yeah,
thinking like you just taking pictures. Like I didn't even know you was into the filming side too. So that just caught me
yeah.
off guard. I'm not even gonna lie. And I know you just
Nah,
touched
yeah.
on real estate. I know you just touched on real estate. What made you get into
Fact.
that?
So real estate was another one of those things where it's just like I always wanted to like own real estate. Like I always wanted to be in it. I also like have like a few mentors or whatnot that they made success for themselves in real estate, and obviously they doing really good. And there's a lot of money in real estate, and also just like when you take note of really successful people, high wealth, high net worth individuals, you always know that one thing that you got to have is real estate in the portfolio. No matter how much money you have or what you do, like you have to have real estate in it. And it's one of the best asset classes that we have. Like there's only one earth. There's always gonna always be one earth. So like it's really amazing to like own a piece of the earth, right? And that's what real estate
Yeah,
is. So
I'm actually
you feel
reading
me?
this book right now called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and the dude is like
Rob,
basically breaking down how the rich just gain money, and he basically said they just spend their money on assets while the middle class and the poor just spend their money on liabilities. And real estate was one of the assets. So when you just said that, that
yeah,
just rung a bell in my head. So that's
yeah.
crazy.
Nah, and that hit the nail on the head, right? Rob is a genius. That book is a really good book, right?
Yeah.
And it just really speaks to the fact that, like, it's kind of really ignored, especially ignored with like minorities and
Mm-hmm.
like, people of color. Like, you tend to like just be stuck in a box of just like renting and
Right.
not really trying to step out of that whole renting mentality and into the
Mm-hmm.
ownership mentality, right? And that's really where all the serious gains are, and that's really how like you can really like elevate and change your life with through real estate.
All right, that's dope. And what's some of the challenges that you face working real estate?
So real estate, there's so many challenges that come with real estate. To be honest,
Mhm.
like the list goes on and on. But some of the big challenges, I feel like, especially like I'm facing right now, is really just I feel like uh funding, like, right, because that's
Mm.
always the big piece of it, and it's always the kind of like the gateway door that's blocking people from getting in. They just like, oh, like, I don't have the money, like how I can't get into real estate, like, but so really I feel like that's one of the the main obstacles that a lot of people have. So it's really just trying to like find creative
Yeah.
ways to fund your projects, right? Whether that's looking up different programs that like they have in your state, or looking at basically like crowdfunding methods, and just trying to find creative ways to, get that capital to get you like your foot in the door, right?
Right, right, right. And that's big
But
because a lot of people say, yeah, they say get into real estate, but where I'm gonna find the money at? So
but
I'm glad
how?
you just touched,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm glad
exactly.
you just touched on a bunch of different ways. You feel me? Like he just gave y'all a
Yeah,
bunch of different ways. That's free game. And like I said, here on my
free game.
pod, y'all getting free game.
Yeah,
Y'all gotta
you
pay for this. So feel me? That's free game, man.
nah,
That's free
facts,
game. So
facts, man.
being in real estate and in all these different fields, how big is building connections and networking to you? How big is that?
I feel like you really go with these questions, man, because networking is that's one of the biggest pieces to a lot of things, not just real estate. Like building a
Right.
really good, solid network, like just like me and you, like you feel me, like looking in your network, looking in your contacts,
Hmm.
like who's the people that I know that are around me that are in these different lanes? How could I leverage their knowledge? Take a little bit, take a piece from here,
Hmm.
take a piece from here, put it together, like to just like elevate yourself. So I feel like networking is like the most major thing. I mentioned some of my mentors earlier, but like that's really the key because like you really need to tap in to the people around you to see like how like what information you could pick from them. Like what gems could you get? Because like regardless of
100%.
like what they're doing, everybody has some type of gems that they could like give you and it can help you like no matter
Mhm.
even you might not even think it like even somebody that you might think is like homeless or a bum like you feel me
They
like
can
sometimes
always
they
help
got
you.
those gems like yeah
Yeah,
they can help you like
yeah,
they could hit you with that different way of thinking like an angle
yeah.
that you never thought of like you feel me or just off of personal experiences even if that may have been failure sometimes it's really
Hmm.
good to learn from that too like you failed doing this so like you feel me you taught me that okay now I know I stay away from that do this like
That's a
you feel
fact.
me but networking is one of the biggest things and the biggest help like when you really trying to get your foot in these different doors like you feel me
Right, right, right. So and that's another thing. Like I said, from the book that I'm reading right now, Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's another thing Rob touched on. Like when you
but
starting these, getting into these fields or building businesses, you want to surround yourself with people who know more than you, or like people with wisdom. Like the rich always around people that's richer than them. That's how you keep growing.
exactly like
And people like,
exactly
that come from where we come from, it's a lot of pride that comes with they not willing to
right
accept that. But that's like one of the biggest
right
things of how you get further. You gotta be willing to let go of that pride and
yeah
just someone know more than you. So
yeah no for real
that's a
and
fact.
that's another big thing like people really be getting caught up on the pride they get caught up on
Yeah,
the what we glazing they be like oh nah you glazing because you trying to feel me you
yeah,
trying to be like you trying to compliment people and be like yo like nah you really good at this like can you teach me like
yeah.
that mentality right there is another thing that just hold our people back so badly like don't be scared to be like yo like I see that you wavy at this bro like could I like show me something? Like you feel me? Like
That's
I'm
a
really interested.
fact.
Like yo, I find that cool. Like you can't be like that person. Like you feel me? That's scared to ask questions or scared to reach out
Hmm.
to people, scared to like give people their flowers. Like
Yeah.
so. Nah, fact.
I'm glad you just touched on that. And being from Harlem, I grew up in Harlem too a little bit when I was younger in Grand Projects. And when I go back and I go walk around 125th or wherever in Harlem, I'm starting to see a
Yeah,
whole bunch of white people walking around due to gentrification. It's a
yeah,
lot of stuff that I never
yeah,
seen in Harlem. And it's crazy. It's dope that it's changing.
yeah.
Stuff changes. That's dope. So with gentrification though, how do you navigate through that with real estate?
So yeah, gentrification is another like big topic and heavy thing right now, affecting real estate, right? And a bunch of other things. Like you feel
Mhm.
me? Just like you're saying, like neighborhoods that you grew up with, you're seeing them change right before your eyes. You're seeing them getting whitewashed, as people would say. Like you see,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
never seen back in the days. It used to be like you get on the two train by 96, everybody get off. Now it's like
That's a fact.
they coming uptown. They all uptown. They all
That's
over.
a
Like you
fact.
feel me? And it really is, and it's having a bunch of adverse effects, right? Especially when it
Mhm.
comes to real estate. Like one of the big major things is prices. Like when you have a lot of gentrification, that means that minorities a lot of times is getting priced out. We lived in
Yeah,
Harlem our
that's a
whole
fact.
life, but now they make it Harlem too expensive for people to kind of
Mhm.
afford to live here anymore, right? And
Yeah.
also like making it a whole bunch of other changes along with that. But the most important thing I feel like is just the pricing. Things are becoming too expensive, and
Hmm.
we not able to afford where we lived in our home anymore
Nah,
because
that's
because
crazy.
of this. So
Hmm.
like that's a really huge thing right there. And I feel like it's a really tough thing to combat. And I really feel like it's not a simple answer on like how do we like deal with gentrification, but it's definitely something that you should like kind of definitely be
Keep
aware
in
of,
mind.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
there are ways that you could like kind of combat it. Make sure you go into your local meetings, council meetings, right? Trying to voice
Mhm.
your opinion, kind of make sure that you vote. Like voting is super important when it comes to these sort of things, right?
Yeah.
But that it's definitely a challenge and tough, right?
Nah, I'm glad you just
And
spoke
even
on
when it
that
comes to
too.
buying too. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad you just spoke on that too. Just going to meetings and stuff. Like we got to get more organized as a people too, instead of just complaining. Going to these meetings,
right,
being organized. Once it's organized, we strongest
right,
when we together. We so
right. Get in
spread
front of
apart right now. It's
right. Get in
crazy.
front of your representatives. Talk to your representatives, man. Voice your
Hmm.
opinion. You right? Like all these meetings, you see them and people don't go. We not really our voice is not
Hmm.
heard. Like things are
Yeah,
changing in our neighborhood, like right before our eyes, and it seems like almost that we can't do anything about it. But one of the best ways that you could combat things like that is, getting out and vote, showing your face in these meetings, becoming
that's a fact.
educated on these topics and things that you could do, right?
That's a
Yeah,
fact. All right. So I'm glad we spoke on real estate. You gave us a lot of good pointers and all that. What's a piece of advice you'll give to somebody that's looking to get into real estate? I know you would say network. Don't be afraid to talk.
yeah.
But what's another piece of advice you'll give to someone looking to jump into real estate?
Another thing, another good thing besides networking is just go look on Google. Also, go apply, go see what you can actually qualify for,
Mm.
and just like really be inquisitive of these different things. Like really inquire about these different programs that you might be eligible for. Like
Yeah.
another big thing is like people say like it's so hard, but it's like, have you ever even tried? Have you ever even tried to go
No.
into the bank and see
Mhm.
like what could you do right now? Have you been looking at various FHA programs? Like are you really even like trying to actually like take a step in the direction, right? Because
Mhm.
one of the first big things that you could do is just literally go and apply for these programs. But some of these
Mhm.
programs, they got no money down programs that people could qualify for. There's also down payment assistance, right? And you really have to inquire about these things or you would never know. And they'll just keep it hush because,
Yeah.
that's the better game, right? They're not trying to spoon feed you this information. So you really just got to go out there, be proactive with trying to obtain those things. So I feel like
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing is go see what you're qualified for. Go check out your credit. If you don't know what
Yeah.
your credit score is, that's a bad sign too, right? You
Yeah.
should know what
Yeah.
your credit score is. You should be checking your credit all the time so that you can actually take steps towards fixing it if you don't have any or like getting some. So I
That's a
feel like
fact.
that's kind of the biggest thing that you could also do is just go see what you could qualify for today. Like
Mhm.
you feel me? That's something that you could do right now, right? Today.
That's a fact. Free
Yeah.
game. That's more free game for
You
y'all, man. I
feel
don't
me?
get no. Yo, it don't get no better than this, man. That's free game, bro. So you
Right.
said you're into banking, right? That's you into banking.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
guess I'm into it, but
did you go to
yeah.
school for that?
Yeah, I got my bachelor's in business administration with a
Right.
concentration in financial analysis.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that and also like with that being my background, right? Those was one of my first jobs out of college was
Mm.
at Goldman Sachs, right? So, that's one of the number one banks, investment banks in the world. So, that's kind of what really like got my foot in the door and got me interested in banking, even though, banking is it's not really it's not really fun, but
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what gave you the like? I wouldn't say that love for it, but you went to school for it. Like
Yeah.
you was you took the. So what got you into it?
Well, really, it just goes back to I just remember being in college, like, like when you get out of college, like what really you gonna be doing with your life? Like I always a dream of mine was just like, back then was just like, yo, I just want to make six figures. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
you feel me? I remember being up on Google, Googling like how could I get six figures? What jobs could I get with this bachelor's that could get me six figures? Or what could I do with my education that could help me like get to where I wanted to be. So and banking
Yeah.
was one of those clear things that was just like you have the skill set, right? It aligns with your skills and some of your natural abilities, right? Being good at math and things like that. So I feel like that's really what pushed me towards getting in banking. And then, of course, like having that just such a good opportunity fresh out of college really just
Right.
like launched me deeper into banking. But yeah, I don't want to sound like I hate banking either, but it's just
Yeah,
always
yeah,
a funny
yeah, yeah.
thing
I know what you're
with
saying. I
bankers
know.
too. Like it's cool, it's nice and whatnot, but yeah.
All right, that's dope. That's dope. But I know you just said you work at one of the best investment banks. You said what was the name?
Yeah, well, I don't work there no longer. I
Yeah.
since transferred into a different bank, right? But that's where I got my start at, right? That's like they kind of consider it like the Ivy Harvard of banks or whatever, right? It's a very big, well-known investment bank around the world, right? So it was always just a dream. Like, you always want to go if you want to go in banking, of course, I want to go into the top banks. I want to be
Right.
amongst the top talent. I want to get the
Right.
highest paying position, right? So you feel me? That's kind of what got me pursuing Goldman, right? Kind of the status and the caliber, right? And also just the networking too, because I knew like, you're going to be around a lot of very smart
Hmm.
people that, and it could open up a lot of doors for you, which it did, in the long run.
And did this introduce you to learning about investing and things of that nature?
Well, the funny thing is really my job, right, and my role in Goldman really didn't because although I was in the investment bank, I wasn't really on the investing side. I was really
Hmm.
more so on the controllers, financial reporting, and accounting side of it. But my actual love for investing came from literally just being in college. I remember after I was hooping in alumni gym, I seen some guy like he was like on his phone and he was just like he was really hyped that he was able to like split $1,000 into $3,000. And back then, in college, I was like, yo, nah, whoa, like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah.
First of all, we both in college. Like, I know he don't got no job. He playing with $1,000 and
Yeah.
he flipping it to three. Like my eyes just like blew up. Like, yo, like I gotta learn about this. Like he making
Yeah.
what? You made 2,000 in a day? What
Right. Right.
you made this overnight? So
Yeah.
you feel me? After that one little experience, I went home. I got on my computer. Like, nah, like yo, I need to. How
How
can I
you do
open up
it?
a brokerage account? How do I do this? Like, oh nah. Then I just started going on YouTube. I started going crazy. Like, I gotta
Right.
figure this out. They making 2,000 a night. He just made two
Yeah.
thousand a night.
Yeah.
We in the
Yeah.
same dorm. You feel me? Like,
Yeah.
oh nah,
Yeah.
you
That's
feel
a
me?
fact. That's a
I
fact.
can start. I can do this. Like, you feel me? So that really
Yeah.
got my like interest. That really piqued my interest, and that's what like got me like really like to go like, yo, focus up. You can make some
Hmm.
serious money if you just do this, and like you feel me? Especially being broke in college, like like you feel me,
That's a
not really
fact.
having the bread.
That's a
Like you
fact.
feel
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
trying to get
Being
high.
broke,
You trying to
period,
go to
man.
party. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you feel me? Like word. It's like,
That's
yo,
a
now I
fact.
need to figure out how to get this money right now. Like, and
Yep.
he getting
Yep.
it. And like I know him personally, like, yo, like you feel me? So I know like it also made me feel like a little bit more like, yo, you could do this. Like, you feel me? It's
Yeah.
he was also a minority too. So it was just like, you feel me? He doing this, why can't I? Like, sort of deal.
That's
You
what I was
feel
about
me?
to ask you too. In terms of investing. So I
Yeah,
know on social media, it's a lot of people that say get into it. It's important, and like I'm saying, I'm reading the book. I read it in that book.
yeah.
Investing is important. You have a lot of people on social media that'll be like, "Yo, this is BS, bro. Don't. It's a scam. Like you wasting your time." Like, What do you say to those people? Like, since you in that
Yeah.
world, what do you say to them?
One of the first things I tell people is like, what makes you think this is a scam, right? And then they can't really answer that question, right? And
Yeah,
then we go down the deep rabbit hole of, okay, you think this is a scam, but yet you're doing this with your money, and you don't think you're getting scammed doing this,
that's a
right?
fact.
And right, so I also feel like people just need to also go and do their research. Like research is really
Hmm.
important. Go see why people are so interested and go see what the capabilities are
Yeah,
for you in investing, right? Like that's really the biggest thing. Like I said, like when I seen him do it, I didn't just like feel me like, oh no, that's a scam, yo, you bugging. I had to
hmm,
go sit down, get behind the computer, do my research, like
yeah,
nah, this is how they do it. This is what the elites is doing. This is what the big money players is doing, right? Like whether they
right.
have a somebody that they paying doing it for them, it's no way that you can have that level of money and not get into those lanes. Like you
Yeah,
can't name me a really rich person that doesn't have an investment portfolio and doesn't own
yeah, yeah.
assets, right? So like it's really just follow the money. That's one of the most famous sayings right there is
Mhm.
follow the money. So you were so busy saying that it's a scam, right? Yet all of the successful, rich, well-off people are in this scam and they're getting their they're
Getting to
getting
it.
balls deep in the scam. And
Yeah,
you feel me? They're willing to put their massive amount of wealth into these so-called scams, and
right,
they're the
right.
ones that's being able to enjoy all the spoils. And that, I feel like that's another really bad thing that really plagues black people too. Is like you're just so like skeptical about everything, right? Like it's
Everything,
really just
bro.
being a skeptic. Like everything's nah, I don't believe it. Nah, I'm
Yeah,
good. Like you feel me? Like
yeah, yeah.
before you even really get a chance to learn and understand why things are so good. So like you feel me?
Mhm.
I really feel like people need to break out of that mentality and do your research. Everything is not always what it seems, so it's good to kind of be skeptical, but you can't be so skeptical that you're willing to pass up on good opportunities. You have to
Right,
be
right,
able
right.
to differentiate the two, like, you know?
Hmm.
So that I feel like that's the a real major thing.
And I know you say you do your research and things of that nature, and I don't want to say, and both of us are saying investing is a good thing to do and important to do. So when
Right.
someone wants to do their research or somebody wants to get into this field, what's some steps they should take or what should they research to get
So
into
I feel like
investing?
Right. So I feel like one of the main things that you could do, right, especially with new investors and beginning investors, one of the things I like to tell them to do is go download Robinhood, right?
Yeah,
Robinhood is a very good beginner brokerage that can actually teach you a lot of fundamentals about investing, and it's really a very good teacher with a very easy interface that's easy to grasp for beginners, right? So I love to kind of start them there because this is not an ad. Robinhood didn't pay me to say this, but you know, like you feel me, they're very good at like being able to give you information and background and gives you a little bit of context on these different companies. It lets you know, like even if you don't put any money, just downloading Robinhood and looking at the different stocks like
yeah,
Tesla's, Amazon's, right, Apple,
yeah,
all the way down to like smaller companies, you can easily go look. You could click on them. You could see what they've been up to. It easily shows you a bunch of different articles for each company of what they're involved in, outlooks for the future, and not only just like stock prices and how much it will cost to get into it now, but also like kind of show you also what experts think about these different companies as well to kind of help you formulate your own opinions. So I feel like that's a very good step towards getting your beak wet with investing, right? Because even if you don't put
yeah,
no money down, just downloading the app, checking it out, what you could do, also checking out what's going on. What are these companies up to? Why are they stirring the pot? I feel like that's a very good way to get your foot in the door and like kind of get you more into it, right? And that's also
yeah.
where I started too before I like, I started branching out into different things, right? So I definitely highly recommend that,
And I know patience is
along
like
with
a big.
Coinbase,
Oh, Coinbase too. Yeah,
Coinbase
yeah.
as well.
Coinbase and another
Yeah.
one. I know patience is like a big quality you should have when it comes to investing, especially us minorities or black people that come from nothing. Like patience is definitely something big to have because I know if you throw some
Yeah,
money in there, your life ain't gonna always change overnight. A lot of it is long term. So I feel
right.
like patience is
Literally,
something big to have.
right. And really, that's literally one of my company. That's literally my company slogan right there, right? For Hyde Management is it won't happen overnight. I got it on the back of this T-shirt right here, right? It
Yeah,
won't happen overnight. People need to like get out of that idea of like fast money and get rich quick. I feel like that whole mindset is what kind of gets people to think that things are a scam because
yeah.
getting rich quick is a scam. Most of the time, if that's the angle that they're portraying for you, don't believe
It's
it. A lot of these things take time. It takes patience. It really won't happen overnight. It's really like a brick by brick layer thing,
right,
like,
right, right.
where
So what's one of the biggest financial lessons you learned that you want to give to everyone else?
I feel like one of my biggest financial lessons really is that you gotta fail, right? Failing
Yeah,
is good, right? I know that sounds crazy, but failing is the best thing that you could do sometimes is just getting out there, go try something that you never tried before and not be afraid to fail at it. Also being
yeah,
getting comfortable with failing. People are so afraid to fail that it really stops their progress and it kind of puts you in a box. So like you gotta
yeah,
welcome failure sometimes. You gotta be not afraid to take those shots, right? You know, like the Michael Jordan saying like all of this different shots that he missed, right? But those
yeah.
missed shots helped him become Michael Jordan, right? You know, like so you
Right.
can't be afraid to go take risks and to fail. You should also be like kind of eager to fail, right? You know, because it's like and once you fail, like you learn from it, right? Now you know
Yeah,
what not to do. Also, one failure just brings you closer to getting it right?
yeah,
So I feel like that was one of the biggest things that I had to learn is not to be afraid to fail and to actually go out of there, get out of your comfort zone, get
yeah,
comfortable being uncomfortable, right? And just trying things out, right? And sometimes it's gonna cost you, but I'm also one of the firm believers that when you lose your own money, that's one of the best teachers right there. Is like,
yeah.
when you actually have skin in the game and like that's one of the best ways to learn is like,
When you lose the money,
yeah, when
and I
you
know
look,
I
not
keep
even just
touching.
when you lose in general.
Yeah, when you lose,
Yeah,
yeah, and I know I keep
yeah,
touching on this book that I'm reading, Rich Dad Poor
yeah.
Dad, and if you see
Facts.
this, Rob, you might want to, I don't know, cut me a check, bro, because I keep talking about your
Yeah.
book. But
Right. He
yeah,
didn't pay
nah,
us
that's
for this,
another
but that
thing.
is a good book.
Nah, that is a good book. That's another thing he touched on. Like everything you saying, like the book just keep
Yeah,
popping up in my head. Like when you said take risk, like yeah, you got to take risks, but also go out there and, like you said, research, learn before you take the risk, because it won't be such a
right,
risk when you have financial literacy. Like when you know certain
right.
things, it could be taking a risk,
Calculated
but
risk.
it's a calculated risk. You know what you're doing at the same
Right,
time. So I'm glad you just
right.
touched on that, and that leads into my next
100%.
segment. My next segment is overcoming obstacles. So being a young black entrepreneur, what's some of the biggest obstacles
Yeah.
that you faced, and how did you
Um,
overcome it?
I I feel like this right here, you feel me? Even though I'm light skinned for the colorism folks out there, right? Just having that melanin, that's one of the biggest things, right? Because,
Yeah,
people like us aren't really in the spaces, and also the spaces is completely dominated by white people. So you feel me? I feel like that's one of the biggest obstacles, right? Is kind of getting used to knowing that, when you're trying to break down these barriers that have been plaguing us forever, like you're gonna realize that it's gonna be uncomfortable. You're gonna realize like the higher you elevate yourself, you might be the only black person in the room. And
yeah,
that might make some people uncomfortable, but at the same time, you gotta, welcome it, like, and also be proud of it to the fact that, you're one of the statistics, like to break down those barriers and get into those doors and spaces. But I feel
mhm,
like that's a lot of the time the thing is like, trying to be able to relate to people or have people that are in the space right now kind of relate to where you come from. Like, we ain't
Yeah,
come from money, but like we trying to get it. We trying to strive for it, right? And
that's a
like
fact.
we talk different. We got swag, you feel me? A lot of things like, you can't like it's not found in these spaces. So I feel
Hmm.
like that's one of the biggest things, like, kind of like keeping bringing your identity with you in these spaces and also being like proud of it at the same time, right? And like just really like representing for the culture in these different like
Yeah,
environments. So,
yeah.
word.
And I know you just spoke on it being hard to get in certain areas, but to piggyback off what you saying, I feel like us as young black men, we'll change that narrative by having more of us in that seat. Like things that you
Right,
doing, having more of us doing that, but change that narrative. So
right.
I feel like more of
Yep,
us need to follow a lot of the positive things that young black men are doing out here, like yourself, because that'll
yeah,
change the
no, fact.
narrative. They see more of us like
Right,
that. You can't think like that no
right,
more. Once it's more of us doing
right,
the same things.
right. And
So
passing it, paying it forward too. Like, you feel me? Once you
yeah,
get in a space, educate. Don't be afraid to educate your brothers. You feel me? Try
exactly.
to you get up there, throw the ladder back down for people like you
Yeah,
feel me to get up in those spaces too. Like I feel like that's
yeah.
really important, not be gatekeeping, like you feel me? Like
I was just
keep
about to
the
say that.
door
No
open for people.
gatekeeping.
Like no gatekeeping. We don't do gatekeeping over here. You feel me? My brother knowledge is my knowledge. You feel me? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it. If
that's a
we
fact.
share the knowledge, we could be unstoppable like that.
Yep,
You know?
yep. And what role has mentorship or community support played in your success?
Oh man, nah. I feel like community support and mentorship has just played a huge role. Like, and I feel like definitely I'm gonna separate them. Like, right, just starting with mentorship. Like, it's really important. Like, for you to kind of, if you want to get into a lane, it's very important for you to go try to find somebody that you could relate to. Right, you
Yeah,
feel me? That looks like you, that's already
yeah,
in that lane that that could mentor you and teach you what they know, right? A lot
that's
of
a
these
fact.
people, they be eager to kind of give up the information too. They just waiting for somebody to come and really want to
Mhm.
like hear it and also like really value it. So you know what I mean? Find you a mentor. If you want to get in real estate, look out for go research and go find some black real estate professionals in your area. I promise you, if you go reach out to them, they're gonna be more than willing to help you, right? Because they always
Yeah,
trying to add, especially my personal experience, like when I shoot those questions to people and I try to call people like that, they always very good, responsive, and they really be eager to kind of help us, like you feel me, help one another. So like find a mentor. If it's not real
mhm.
estate, if it's something else, if you want to do be a medical professional, find a mentor that's in that lane. If
Yeah,
you want to do broadcasting, find somebody in
finding.
that lane that look like you.
Mhm.
You feel me? Go reach out to them, see what they could do, because that's one of the easiest ways to get ahead is just by taking their information, because they gonna give you the blueprint that they had to probably work mad hard and years to get. They gonna be able to
Right.
sum it down and write it decently and hand it to you right here. And now you feel me? Now you able to run with information that took them 20 years to get that. And now you
Yeah,
got it right now. You feel me? So you could leverage it to win right now. So you feel
yeah,
me? Get you a mentor, right? That's super important. And I feel like that's very important with my sessions, just having people that just like in my ear, like to teach me things and like also like tell me like, yo, here, send me books. I had mentors send me books that I found really interesting and things like that.
yeah,
Shout out my boy Ray. He's a big time realtor in New York. He's knocking down $1 million properties all the time. And things like that really inspire you. So like it's like, dang, like
yeah,
you feel me? Ray, I knew him for a long time. I see him, he
yeah.
doing his thing. I see him all the time post, oh, just sold $1 million property. Like, you feel me? And stuff
Sheesh.
like that. It gets you motivated. Like, you feel me?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
he,
Shout out to Ray.
like, he come for the same, yeah, shout out Ray. Ray Addison, like, you really, like, you feel me? Like, things like that is just motivate you and just let you know that you could do it. And they're going to be able to give you gems. And
Yeah, that's a
on
fact.
the right. And on the community side too, like Harlem, especially OFO, 141st, that's the family right there. They be really on my back. Like, you feel me? They
Yeah,
really like they really just support me OD. Anytime I got something going on, they always ask me, yo, what's going on? They always quick to eager to like to kind of support, show love to new products that I come out with, or like you feel me, or just try to shop with me. But like community is big, man. And not even just my block, just like people like my friends, high school, people that I
Hmm.
went up with, like you feel me, like block family, like they
Yeah.
really are a huge support, like you feel me, and they really help propel a lot of the initiatives that I be trying to do. So, both of those things is super important to my success, right?
And I know you speak on Harlem. You showing Harlem big love, man. Shout out to Harlem, man.
You
Big
already,
up to
man. Harlem.
Harlem, man. I'm from the Bronx, but you feel me? I maneuver in Harlem too.
You
So
Harlem
big.
stand well. We'll stay in Harlem, so you
Yeah, I'm
stand.
stamped out there. You feel me? Like I'm
Yeah,
stamped out
yeah,
there. So
fact.
how does being from Harlem influence the way you approach life and business?
Oh yeah, that's a big one. Like you see, I literally named one of my first big companies after Harlem Flex. So like I feel like
Yeah.
Harlem is one of the first things that I mention to people when they ask me about myself, because it's like such a big part of my identity. Like you feel me? Like I'm from
Mhm.
Harlem. Like I'll be proud to say that.
That's a
Like
fact.
most
Yeah.
Harlem nights we be screaming it. Like you see our swag. You feel me? And
Hmm.
just really that Harlem culture. Like it really follows you with in everything. Like, and I really feel like that's why I be really trying to press people like to get into different lanes, because I just know that they'll be good at it, because like it's in us. Like you feel me? It's in our blood,
Yeah.
like a little bit, to
Hmm.
be out there. Like you feel me? The natural entertainers, naturally able to talk. They got the gift to
Hmm.
gab. You feel me? Like you feel me? Very good with words, and you feel me? Cool people. Like you feel me? And
Word
that
up.
literally takes you really far in these different lanes. Like, and people
Yeah.
underestimate just how important that is, like just being able to do that, right? And I
Yeah.
really bring my Harlem swag with me in everything I do, even when I be at work and banging, like you feel me, like I'm
Yeah.
always cracking jokes, you feel me, people like I talk a little bit differently sometimes, the lingo slips out on the meeting call
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
and people laugh, but you feel me, like it's just so any like it's so in my blood, like you feel me,
You
like it really
embrace
just
that. Yeah.
spills out into everything. Yeah, like, and like you
Uh-huh.
feel me, you gotta embrace that. Don't hide it. Like you feel me, like I know code
Hmm.
switching is one thing, but you could bring your personality, you could bring your background into these different spaces, and they often help, because like you feel me, we got a very unique like perspective, like especially being from Harlem, you gonna have a unique perspective on life. Like you feel me, you from the city that never sleeps. You feel me, you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. That type of
That's a fact.
mentality right there, like
Fact.
really go far. It go far from you. I'm sure, like you feel me, even just a city, like you city out there, you probably a shark out there. Like you feel me, and
Yeah.
especially when you go to these different states and you step out and you go to the different parts of the nation, and different countries, you just see like how much people like really go, oh, you from New York? Like they be so
Yeah.
intrigued. They be like, they
That's
be
a
so
fact.
excited. Like you
Yeah.
feel me? They be looking at you like, whoa, you from city? Like you feel me? And that really like it's true. Like you feel me? That really
Yeah.
experience like really put me on. Like nah, being from the city, being from Harlem, like that give you
Yeah.
like a whole
Yeah.
different waviness that you feel me that people don't got, and it really take you a long way with your
It even help
businesses
you.
for real.
It even help you get jobs because I could tell you how many interviews I done been on out here where I'm at now, and
Yeah,
I tell them, yeah, I'm from New York, and it's like, oh, you from New York? And that
yeah,
kind of like
nah,
helped me get the job. Like, oh no, you'll be
nah,
fine here. Like, you'll be
yeah,
fine. You'll
for
be
real.
fine. Yeah.
For real. And
So
people don't realize that, like, we right here, we in a shark tank with a bunch of sharks. Like, you feel me, on
exactly,
a daily, and
exactly, exactly.
it's just so normal to us. You feel me? It's just so normal to us that we underestimate the value that we got just naturally
Hmm.
being born here and coming up in here.
Hmm.
Like, you feel me? So tap into that side, man. Tap into that. You feel me?
Yeah,
Use it to your advantage. It's definitely an advantage, and it definitely give you a competitive advantage over a lot of people for real.
that's a fact. And what legacy do you hope to leave?
Oh man, see, this is a tough question. You see how Mike Tyson answered this question, right?
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah,
That
Mike
was
Tyson was crazy for that one,
nah,
especially for that little for Jazzy. I felt bad for
yeah, with the
Jazzy on
little
that one.
girl.
Jazzy
Come
was like,
on.
she was like, I never heard that one before, but he was bugging with that. But I think I'm very different from Mike Tyson. I think legacy is actually very important,
Yeah.
and regardless of whether you think it's important or not, when you gone, you're gonna leave a legacy regardless, whether it's good or bad. So you feel me? Like And I feel like with that being said, it's very important for you to go out there and try to live and leave the best legacy possible behind. So you feel me? I always think about legacy. I always think about generational wealth. You feel me? Like I
Yeah.
just want to leave my mark and be able to be like, yo, Dan, like he did all of these things. You feel me? He was in all of these lanes. He was able to do all of these different things, and you really know, like, put his family ahead. So I feel like legacy is super important. I put Hyde in front of everything. You feel me? Hyde, I'm super
Yeah.
proud of it. I got hideaways, I got Hyde jackets. You feel me? Like my last name is everything. You feel me? And people
Yeah.
people say that, they see that, and they know that about me. Like, you feel me? So that legacy is super important, and I really just
That's a
want to
fact.
leave a good one behind. When you hear the Hyde name, like, you think of excellence. Like, you feel me? You think of, like, you feel me? Upper echelon. You think of niggas doing it big. Like, you feel me? That's
Yeah.
kind of what I want to leave behind. Like, you feel me?
Mm.
So people always remember the highs. They remember me specifically, but not even just me, just the family. Cause like I couldn't fit it, but it's High Management Family LLC, right? So it's really
Yeah.
about the whole family. Like, you feel me? And like really just, you know, being able to make a lane for y'all. Like, you feel me?
Yeah.
For your people. Like, and I think that that's really key.
Nah, that's dope, man. That's dope. And what's next? Like, what can we expect next from you? Like, and how can people connect with you? I want you to throw all your socials out, even throw your
Yeah.
email out if somebody want to connect with you. What's
Right.
next? And tell the people how can they connect.
Right. So I got a bunch of things. High Management Family LC got a bunch of things going on right now. We just talked a little bit. I gave y'all a sneak peek. Y'all ain't here. We coming out with a reality TV show.
Yo,
Look out
stay
for
in
that.
tune.
Tune in when it drop. Right. You feel me? But also besides that, right now, on the real estate end, we working on Hideaways Resort, which is going to be a very luxury Airbnb that's in Belize, right? Which is next to Mexico. If people don't know, we right next to Mexico. Belize is a beautiful country. If you never heard of it, go Google it, go look at the picture.
Yeah.
But you feel me? Right? I'm building an Airbnb and right, 2025, set to open in 2025. So that's a really big lane that,
You said that's in
and that's
Belize?
really probably my yeah, that's gonna be in Belize, man. Yes,
Open
sir.
2025?
So yeah, 2025, we opening
Hold
up.
on, nah, I gotta. I'm gonna check you out, man. I'm
Yeah.
gonna check you
Check me
out,
out,
man.
man.
I got you.
Yeah.
I just got
Check.
my passport, man. I got you, bro. I'm
Yeah.
in tune. I'm gonna check you out.
Passport, bro. We outside, man. We
Yeah,
building it. We
yeah,
gonna make it. It's gonna be one of the most beautiful places that you could come to Belize. We in a very good location in between Belmopan and Belize City, right? We right
yeah,
next to a lot of tourist spots. So look out for us. Early
yeah.
followers, go follow at Hideaways on Instagram at Hideaway, right?
Mm,
Follow High Management, follow Trip Entertainment, follow Harlem Flicks, follow all that. We got a lot of stuff going and we got a lot of giveaways. I'm always trying to give back. So like if you follow me on my socials, guaranteed 9 times out of 10, you either gonna win something or you're gonna have an opportunity to win something, right? Even with
yeah.
the Hideaways Resorts. If you go follow me right now, you feel me? At the first 100 followers, we giving them all deals on your first booking. So go check that out, man. We got a lot of stuff coming up. So you feel me? That's
Nah,
just a
definitely.
little sneak preview real quick. I don't want
Yeah,
to give away too much.
I'm gonna have my man on the editing. He gonna chop that up and put all your
Yeah,
socials there so everybody can
good
see.
luck.
Shout out, bro, on the editing too. Shout out you. Gotta shout bro out.
Appreciate
Uh, and I always end my episodes off with this one question I ask everybody: what's your why?
you. Yeah. So I feel like I we kind of touched on it before. I feel like my why kind of fits in with the legacy and for the family, right? You feel me?
Hmm.
That's my biggest why. Like, besides just wanting to have riches and spoils for myself, I also just wanted to feel me do good for my family, like put
Hmm.
my family up. Like, you feel me? I want my family to have nice things. Like, I want everybody to be enjoying, like, you feel me, not really want for nothing. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's my biggest motivator. And that's what like really just been able to get me to go after so many things and really just kind of like the gas in my engine is like, yo, I gotta, I gotta up my family. Like, you feel me? My family need this. Like, you feel me?
Mm,
My little brother, he need this. He need big
yeah.
bro to feel me. He need the new sneakers. He need all the fly
Yeah.
stuff. He need, feel me, college tuition, all of that. He need ANU You feel me? That shit is expensive. So you feel me?
That's
Like
a fact.
that's really my why. Like you feel me? I really just want to not only just for me, just so that I could give back to like people that mess with me and also my family. Like you feel me? Take care of the fam. That's my
That's a
biggest
fact.
why right there.
All right, my God, man. I appreciate you pulling up, man. I appreciate you
You already,
dropping these free gems on these people, man. Yo, y'all gotta pay for
you
knowledge like
already,
this on these different platforms. Y'all be having to pay for stuff like this, bro. I'm telling you, here, earn your
right,
voice. We get everybody here. We're gonna give y'all a free game, man. That was a dope episode, man. I learned a
you
lot.
already,
You know, I'm gonna stay in touch with you. We're gonna chop it up.
you already,
I
bro.
got some more learning to do. I'm always interested, and I'm definitely in
Fact.
tune for the Airbnb in Belize. Come on, man. That
Stay
sounds.
tuned, man.
I ain't
Yeah,
even know, man.
pop
That's
out.
crazy. I'm not popping out
Yeah,
early. I just told you I got my
pop
passport.
out,
I'm ready.
man.
Man. I'm popping out.
Yeah, yeah.
And on top of that, my boy got a reality TV show coming up, man. So make sure y'all go follow all his pages. Every page he just named, I'm gonna put it on the thing, and I need y'all to follow. And I need y'all to follow Earn Your Voice. I'm gonna drop
Yes,
that
sir.
there. I need y'all to subscribe to
Yeah.
the YouTube. Follow us on all socials, man. This is Earn Your Voice. Feel me? We do
Do
it big
right,
here.
child.
You feel
Do
me?
right. Do right.
All
Yeah.
right.
No cap.
My guy, holla
Appreciate
at
you,
you,
bro.
bro. I appreciate you showing
You
up,
already.
bro.
You already.
Yes,
You
sir.
already.